Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 10 of What If Naruto Was a Hope of the Uchiha clan. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, stay in tune for the rest of what is coming your way over in Anime King 2 and Anime King 3. If you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Making family. And thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last time we left off, Madara was pissed off. Tajima's included it pissed off as well, including Neri. As Naruto was at the capital, it might seem like they were keeping him comfy there, but it was a trap. To hold him, just in case, because they didn't want him to leave. They wanted Naruto to marry Tsunade, and they wanted Neri to marry Hoshirama, so that there would be peace between the two clans. And that was something that Madara would never allow. He was going to gather the army and take down the daimyo and the Senjus together. As Tajima told him about the risk here, the two people together, their forces will be tremendous. But inside the castle, as Naruto was also thinking the same thing as well, as his king guard was also thinking the same thing. If they bow their heads towards the daimyo, they will look like common foes. And soon enough, daimyo will start to use them to take over lands and use them as he sees fit, and they would not let that happen. Screw him and screw his capital, screw everything about him. They would not let it happen. The other clan heads were gathered as they were with Madara 100%, told the others bowed their head and pledged their blade. They would not bow down to the daimyo this way. Sure, they paid taxes because of the land of fire, but to completely surrender himself to him, this was unthinkable. They would not do that no matter what. Meanwhile, as Naruto saw something that made him take a second glance, he had went to speak to Kurama, and Kurama told him not to kill Tobirama if he was going to go through this and if he wanted his help. As Kurama could see the hate in Naruto's eyes, the anger, as the fox was taking away something from him that was so precious, his revenge. But that was the only way that the fox would help him out, as Naruto finally agreed to that. As they were going to make the surrenders of the Senjus if they want to surrender, but the ones that did not, they would be killed. But Naruto saw the people and the kids. A lot of them there, innocent, that doesn't deserve this. It made him think about his own future. And his two kids that he was gonna have with Shizuka. So he went to talk to Hoshirama. Tsunade was being snide as usual, but as she saw Naruto ignoring her, there wasn't much as she could say. As Naruto focused on Hoshirama and told him that they will not stand for this. He told him plain out that they will attack the daimyo for this. As Hoshirama gave Naruto a stern look and told him if his family get involved, he would not hesitate to fight back. But that is where Naruto came to a compromise. Help him and help the Uchihas take over the capital. And he will make the Uchihas back down. That was the only thing that he was asking them for. As they could not bow down to the daimyo. They were the ones that were supposed to rule, not this common merchant just because he has money. As Hoshirama looked towards Naruto, this was a serious offense. But before he agreed to anything, as Naruto showed him the map, he wanted to know why. Why? Why did the people call him a kinslayer? Why did he do it? Everyone always wondered why. Many people have the different theories and speculations, but no one knew the real truth. Tsunade was also eager to hear what was the real reason. Why did he butcher his own clansmen? Everyone is eager to hear it. As Naruto sat down as he got the drink, as he took several gulps. This was going to be difficult, yes it was, as he hadn't told anyone about this, and Hoshirama could use this against him. But he could see it in the man's eyes. Hoshirama wanted to know, and Naruto figured if he gave them the first trust, they would join along. So, as he began his tale, the exact reason why He became a kinslayer. Why did he kill his own kind? So yeah guys, so basically that's where we left off. You guys can switch across the place, check out for yourself. So what's against new episode. It all started after our victory at the great Tamar River, said Naruto, as he dived into his story. Flashback, 10 years ago. Naruto sat in the middle of Naka Temple, surrounded by his men from all sides. All of his family was here except for Madara, who was currently away on another mission. The Uchihas were in a good mood. They just scored their largest victory against the Senju in several years, and they had the Sharingan back. His father stood up as their remaining clansmen stopped talking, every set of eyes fixed on Tajima Uchiha. We have achieved a great victory, said Tajima, earning a loud roar of cheers. When it finally died down, Tajima looked towards his people with even more confidence. I have called you all here because it's our custom to thank the gods for giving us the strength for what we have done. It is true that we pay a heavy price for that. No one blamed Tajima when he took a pause, because while some of them lost friends and family, Tajima lost the most with the death of his 3 sons. But at the same time, he has gained immense prestige, and his position as clan head was no secured for the rest of his life. Know that his last 2 sons had the Sharingan. In fact, his family reign was guaranteed for generations. But we won. So today I seek blessing from the gods and ask you to join me, said Tajima, as all of the Uchihas kneel in front of the statues of the Amaterasu, Shinigami, Tsukuyomi, Hashiman, Izanagi, Izanagi, and the dragon. As Naruto found himself looking at the ancient deities, people said that they were not worshipped anymore because they were old and never existed in the first place. But when you look at these people's faces, they did not believe it for 1 second. All of the Uchihas looked devoted. He remembered tales of the Amaterasu, goddess of the sun, tales of the Shinigami, the Death Reaper. Not one Uchiha could claim not to fear this god. The songs of Tsukuyomi and his loyals, the brother of Amaterasu and the god of the moon, not to mention the Uchiha's prime god, the courage of Hashiman, who was a god of war, the twins Izanagi and Izmai, the god of the sky and the goddess of the earth, and the dragon, his clan ancestor. He didn't know if dragons truly exist or not, but by now, people believed that the Uchihas were the offsprings of dragon blood. As the prayer was finished, as people started to get back on their feet, soon chatter broke out, and Tajima was surrounded by people that wanted to join him. Even Aunt Neri was swarmed by a group of women talking. As Tajima beckoned him to step forward, as Naruto stepped forward to look at that cold man, the man's eyes were stern, his face was solid. His once dark hair had turned white. He looked like a mummy with his face all old and wrinkly. Meet your great uncle, Yamato Uchiha. If you remember correctly, this man was one of the distant cousins of his great-grandfather. When he had died, this man had tried to take the leadership from Tajima, but he didn't have enough support. In retaliation, Tajima sent him on various missions that kept him away for decades. But the resurface of the Sharingan was big enough for an exiled person to come back. But Naruto didn't like how this man was looking at him. He saw that look in Inabi and Yashara eyes whenever Aisuna praised him and did something in front of them that made Naruto look good. That look was jealousy, written on the man's face. Still, protocol demanded that he showed this man respect despite his past actions. So he swallowed his pride and suspicion as he bowed to the older man. You taught him well, Tajima, said Yamamoto. Those words were meant to be praised, but the way he spoke it made it sound like an insult. Fortunately, Tajima was used to this as he looked at the man calmly. This was a courtesy, uncle. Since you hold an honorary seat on the Elders' Council, it is my responsibility to inform you about our latest victory. I have done my job and I hope your stay here will be comfortable. The man grit his teeth as Tajima reminded him that he was not going to stay more than necessary. As the man then snapped his eyes towards Naruto. Show me those eyes of yours, he said. No. Tajima see the look on the man's face after hearing that answer. He had clearly did not expect that, and Tajima couldn't be more proud of Naruto right now. As Naruto gave my icy gaze back. Are you disrespecting an elder and a member of your family, boy? Said Yamamoto. If looks could kill, Naruto would be dead by now. It was true that Tajima and Naruto wasn't on a good page right now, but to see his son be talking to like that ignite a fury inside of him. Certainly not from this man. But Naruto spoke up before Tajima could say anything. My father told me it is tradition to command your liege, lord family. You expect respect, but you do not give none in return. I hope you understand that you have no right to ask nothing of me. Even if you had, I wouldn't even give you a penny. Tajima was more than impressed by what his son just said. If they weren't surrounded by their clan, he might have praised the boy for not acting like a child. As Yamamoto looked furious, Tajima noticed a few Uchihas itching closer to them. As Tajima remembered all of them, they were all supporters of his uncle that wanted to make his uncle take over. Tajima could have put them to death, but he didn't do that because he knew it would hurt his dead father's soul. And he couldn't afford to lose trained fighters because their clan had taken a mighty blow back then. So he gave them missions that kept them away from home for a very long time. But now that vacation was about to end, as Naruto left finger twitched, as he noticed that these people were moving close to him, and the way they eyed him. But Tajima stepped in front of him. "We are done here. Pack up your shit and leave before tomorrow first light," said Tajima. "And if I don't," the old man said, as Naruto saw Tajima's supporters turn their eyes towards the old man. And the old man's supporters turned their eyes towards them, Kento, Senju. Everyone flinched upon hearing that name, not of disgust but of terror. It was a well-known fact that Kento was the one that started the slaughter of Tajima's family and his father when he tried to offer peace. And what Tajima did to the man was enough to terrify his own supporters. It had took years, but Tajima was relentless. As he was finally able to capture Kento and his entire family, there was only one of his son that escaped, and that was Batsuma Senju. Even Yamamoto flinched as he remembered that instant of what Tajima did. Tajima did not kill or torture them, he broke them. Months of imprisonment in dark cells, with only the barest amount of food or water, had left the Senju family insane or terrified. Their mental capacity was so rugged they saw shadows everywhere, waiting to kill them at any moment. Tajima gave Kento and his sons, who were still sane, one offer. Either had Kento's wife and daughters be raped by hundreds of Uchihas, or do the deed themselves. The Senju heads and his son were forced to do one of the most disgustingest facts on the earth. And he made them do it again and again after they had violated his sister. The family was broken, beyond repair, as Tajima allowed those women to be violated by Uchihas again and again until they died. Kento's son tried to fight, but Tajima slaughtered them slowly in front of their father's eyes, just to further traumatize the man. By then nothing was left in Kento, his spirit was broken, and then Tajima had let him leave. Kento turned up at his hometown a few weeks later, and he set himself on fire. Batsuma tried to save his father with the end he failed. The Senjus had got the message clearly: fire and blood. From that day forward, Tajima Uchiha was considered a brutal, cruel man, as Naruto saw the respect and fear, even in the eyes of those who hate his father. Tajima dared anyone to defy him, but no one did. "Get the hell out of my sight," Tajima said, as they moved. Just after dinner, Naruto had sneaked out, as he went to visit the lazy fox. The beast always tried to be annoyed or furious by Naruto visit him, but Naruto always saw his eyes sparkle every time he did. And Naruto found the fox interesting and fun to be around. Since Madara was always away in missions, he could spend time with the fox, someone that he was more comfortable with than anyone else. It was a sad truth. He only hoped his relationship with his family could increase like this in the future. He was about to take his secret route when he felt it, a faint presence in the forest. Curious, he activated his Sharingan. Damn it, if it wasn't those orphans trying to break the rule again. Today was not a good day. His father was furious. He followed the chakra signature as it brought him to an underground passage. What were they doing? They shouldn't be out here after sunset. As he descended down, he heard voices. So many voices. "We move tonight." He froze when he heard that voice. Yamamoto Uchiha. He calmed himself and listened in on the conversation. If they were coming after his family, he needed to know everything. "There's no going back after this, Yamamoto-sama. Are you sure this is really necessary?" asked a young voice. "It is the only way, Keiji. You can verify it yourself," said Yamamoto. "I have waited years for this. Finally, we can put Tajima in the ground after what he did to us." Another voice said, "Once we rebel, there is no going back. Either we will live, or Tajima and his family. Steel your heart, because we will wipe them all out tonight, and place his family and his clan back into the rightful place that they deserve," said Yamamoto. "Can we really take Tajima on along with his supporters?" said a skeptic voice. "Yes, we can," said Yamamoto. His voice was full of confidence. Naruto went pale by the time he finished the conversation. His hands were trembling. These people, they were going to attack his family. Tajima needed to know about this immediately. He was just about to leave when he heard a scream, followed by dozens more, women and children. Had they already started to take hostages? He could feel there was at least 50 to 60 people here. How many of them were enemies and how many were prisoners, he did not know. Orders, a voice said, devoid of any emotion. Kill them all. As Naruto pulled his blade, he had to help them. There was no going back as he rushed. He slashed the wooden door down as he burst inside. His Sharingan sprang to life as he got to his feet. He saw nearly 20 to 25 fully armed Uchiha and terrified man, woman, and child tied to posts. What the hell are you doing? Said Naruto as he yelled at his great uncle. The man sneered at him, his eyes full of so much loathing. If it isn't the young dragon, mocked Yamamoto. As his supporters raised their weapons at Naruto. I command you at once, release these people. Disobey, and you shall be executed for treason, said Naruto. As they laughed. They laughed at him. That was something, mocked Yamamoto. These people are our family. You have no right to do any harm to them. We don't want to, but for the greater good of the clan, we have to. What? Said Naruto. So naive. You think you and your brother got the Sharingan because you're special? One of the rebels asked. It's just a simple process. One that your father kept hidden from everyone for years. Another one roared. What the hell are you talking about? Said Naruto. Yamamoto sighed as he stepped aside as he revealed the family ancient tablet. There were many secrets engraved in that. Only a handful of Uchihas could read it. And even they couldn't read it much without Sharingan. Our clan has suffered for centuries without the Sharingan. But your father and his ancestors before him kept this secret from us. You activate those eyes because of the pain you felt when your brothers died. It must not have been a good experience, but it gave you the power to serve your clan. And we are doing the same to Yamamoto. By murdering innocent women and children, said Naruto. These are our people. We had sworn to protect them. If 2 Sharingans can give us such a big victory over the Senjus, imagine what 100 can do, said Yamamoto. All sense of rationality gone from my eyes. Madness. Madness run in your clan. As Naruto remembered the words that Kurama told him. And it was now clear. This man, these people. We will take back what is rightfully ours in fire and blood, said Yamamoto. These women and children, our nieces and nephews, their sacrifice will bring forward the future. And we all shall rise as dragons. As his supporters cheered him on. We will strike down Tajima. We will butcher the Senjus. And we will rule this world. All of that was stopped when a killing intent washed through the area. As the children started to cry even louder as the woman, despite being tied, tried to console them. As Yamamoto looked at the boy in front of him, he staggered a bit, but he pulled his blade. Half of you start the ritual, the rest. We shall take this run down. Now you die, boy, said Yamamoto, as he pointed his blade at Naruto. As Naruto pulled out 2 smoke bombs from his back, that was in his pouch. Ever since he met up with Kurama and he didn't have any weapons on him, thinking that he was gonna die that day. Every day he was always armed, ready for anything. As he threw them, coughing could be heard as purple smoke filled the entire area. They could not see, but Naruto could see everything with his Sharingan. As he gripped his blade, 5 kunais were thrown from his left hand, hitting their targets with perfect accuracy. A part of him was dying as he saw his people still clutching their throats as they died. Their screams of pain and agony. He was killing Uchihas to help Uchihas as he moved and plunged his blade through the closest man's heart. Before the man could even fall, Naruto moved to his next target, and the next one, and the next one, ruthlessly slaughtering. He heard the women and children screaming, but they started to go silent as he rushed over there, but he was blocked by several large men. Yamamoto was shocked. 10 of his rebels were already dead. The 4 large men came at Naruto as Naruto's eyes twisted, and another totem came in his eye. A foolish Sharingan. As Naruto slaughtered all 4 of them, flipping and dicing and slicing. Despite them being stronger, older, and more experienced, the boy was small, and he was fast, and not to mention he could see all of their movements. Yamamoto took a few steps back, as the rest of his supporters charged towards Naruto. 4 giant fireballs were launched towards Naruto, turning him into dust. In such close proximity, he had no space to evade, or water to protect him. He cried out as one of the fireballs hit him. He heard cry of pain as one fireball hit one of the children and a woman beside him. The entire place caught on fire as Naruto stood there, but something was wrong. He was not turned into dust. His skin was turning red, some part of it even black, but he was not burning like them. What was going on? But he was alive and he knew that. Rage, nothing but utter rage, poured into his heart, just like when Aizen had died. He was alive, and these people, killing these children and poor innocent women. The enemies raised their swords, trying to run, but Naruto charged towards them with speed as he shot through the fire. Yamamoto watched in shock as Naruto sliced them into pieces, removed their arms, their legs, as he ripped into their chests. Covered in blood, gore, and fire, Naruto had his Shinigami, as he walked forward, as Yamamoto started to back away. What the hell are you, said Yamamoto, as he saw the fire still clinging to the boy. Achoo Uchiha, said Naruto. As Naruto leaped forward as Yamamoto pulled a blade and raised it, but Naruto cleaved it in half, and so did he cleave his uncle in half as well. The entire Uchiha temple was on fire and the entire foundation was now falling apart. Despite the collapsing structure it was in, Naruto moved forward, his eyes burning. He could not think, he could not feel anything but hatred. And then he saw it, the tablet, as he banged his sword into it, but it did not break. As he started to hack at it, after half a dozen strikes, it broke into half as he threw it into the raging fire. As tears started to leak from his eyes, he fell. As all the children and women, they were dead. Broken and defeated, he marched towards the center of the burning basement and grabbed a chair. As he sat down, the fire burned all around him and the ceiling collapsed, destroying the ancient temple. But he couldn't see or listen to anything. The only thing he would remember were those words: kill them all. In the flashback. And that's where my father and my clan found me. The Senjus. Eyes were widened as they heard what their own family tried to do to each other to gain power. Hoshirama was watching Naruto every second, trying to find any lie or deceit, but there was none. The tears, the sadness and the pain. Guilt, it was all there. Snappy. And Inma still couldn't believe that Naruto went in despite the danger, knowing that he would die, fighting for the innocent. And that went against everything they heard about this man. If this is true, why didn't your father tell anyone? Why was the truth hide? Inma said. The family is all that matters. The clan is all that lives on, said Naruto as he recited the words that his father said to him. It would have torn your clan apart if the truth was revealed. Your people stop trusting each other and your allies would desert you, said Tsunade. As Naruto looked up towards her, would you have done it? Would you have stepped aside and let those innocents suffer in pain? Would you have kept your oath of loyalty and let those madmen do what they want to do? He asked. For the first time, Tsunade had no answer to give, as she lowered her head in shame. Everyone called him a Kingslayer, and all he tried to do was protect the innocent, his family. Why? As Naruto turned to look towards Hoshirama. A ninja, protect from shadows. Never seeks glory. Only his duty. Hoshirama closed his eyes as a single tear slipped past his cheek. It was never easy with the Uchihas. One could not fully love them, or fully hate them at all. They were madmen in that clan that would go through any stakes for power, like Yamamoto and his supporters. And yet there were people like Naruto. Ninjas that did their duties to the best of their abilities, without expecting anything in return. And looking at Naruto, Hoshirama realized the extent of his sacrifice. He took everything on, the disgrace, the hatred. He bared it all. He sacrificed everything so the Uchihas could live peacefully. Now this same boy was risking everything, once again, for love. The Uchihas, their unwavering love for their family. As Naruto got up, as Hoshirama placed a hand on his shoulder, Tsunade and Inma joined, as he gave a firm nod. I will believe in you, Uchiha Naruto. As Hoshirama extended his hand forward, thousands of years of war, deaths, millions of them, suffering, hatred, was about to end now. As Naruto glanced at Inma, who gave him a nod, Tsunade got the courage as she looked up, as there was hesitation in her eyes, fear, guilt, but hope. As Naruto looked at Hoshirama once again, before his hand came up and gripped Hoshirama's hand, as the both of them joined in hand, will bring an end to a war that has lasted thousands of years. Time skip. Naruto sat alone in one of the main rooms in the tower. As he had Dawn, his hands gently caressed Dawn, and you could see fine droplets every few seconds. He should not be feeling like this certainly after he managed a peace treaty with the Senjus. But with that come the condition of marrying someone that he did not love, setting aside feelings for someone that he actually cared about. Hoshirama had reluctantly agreed to not marry Neri, because Naruto warned him that Tajima would rather choose war. Hoshirama, in his naivete or pure heart, decided to trust Naruto with his sister's life. But on the other hand, he asked to share power equally between the Uchihas, and Naruto promised to keep Tsunade safe and treat her as his lawful wife. It was the only way for him to keep them from destroying themselves. So many promises. But the most painful was his conversation with Mikato an hour ago. Flashback to an hour ago. Mikato had been waiting for him as he entered their shared cabin. Itachi told me, she said. What did he tell you? Said Naruto. There's nothing more powerful in this world than a just and loyal man. And I'm looking at one right now, she said, as she gave him a smile. As he clenched his fist. I did what I thought was right, he said weakly, his voice barely above a whisper. I know, she said gently. We attack the capital before dawn tomorrow. Hushram will focus on capturing the daimyo and his family. Our job will be to neutralize the city, defenses, and defenders as quickly as possible. The Senjus will provide most of their forces, aid by Inma and Tsunade Senju, that would command their troops. Our forces will be commanded by me. And, she said, as Naruto didn't know what to say this part although. He took a breath. I will marry Senju Tsunade once we have the capital. The war is over, he said. A lone tear slipped from her eye as she marched towards the window as she took a fresh breath. He stepped forward but he stopped himself. I'm sorry, Mikoto, he said. She detected no lies in his words. He, so worried, concerned, and it made her feel pain. She had loved him for years. Watching him go through with something like this that he had no control over, it broke her. How do you do it, she said. But she spoke up. How do you set aside everything, your entire life for someone else? How do you remain strong in the face of so much heartbreak, she asked. There was only one answer, as you remember. I learned from the best. He taught me how to stay strong in the face of danger, to have the heart to stand up for justice, to remain loyal through everything, and live for your family. Even if you might not expect anything in return, Aizen live and die by that honor. I guess I'm the same. She always knew that he loved his brother more than anyone else. She knew that he cared about Aizen and the way he spoke about him. His hardship, his pain, his duty. All of it was some teaching that he learned from his older brother. You're a good man, Naruto, she said, with a proud smile. As tears started to fall from her eyes. You deserve someone better than me. Someone that will put you first before his duty and loyalty, said Naruto. Good luck on your journey, Naruto Uchiha, she whispered. As Naruto felt the connection between them break, as she had released him. You too, Mikoto, he said. His chest felt crushed as he turned. Naruto. As he turned and marched back towards her, their lips crashed together, tears streaming out their eyes as he held her in his arms. As the both of them did, the final kiss between them, trying to capture the last essence of each other and trying their hardest to say goodbye to each other. As he broke apart and he captured every single detail of her face, every single part, as she did the same for him. When he glanced at her for the last time, he saw the life that he could have had with her. A small house with two little boys playing with each other, as both him and her watched him with smiles on their faces, of Madara sneaking in with kids in his arms through the window. As Mikoto gave him a glare towards his antics of Tajima and Nare, regaling their grandchildren and grandnephew about their past exploits. He walked away quickly before his resolve would crumble. In the flashback, Shizuka had seen him making 3 difficult choices in his life, ones that would change the world. He did not believe her then, but now, his choice. It was a possible reason why there would be a future, a good peaceful future between the Uchihas and Senjus. His choice that was going to join 2 blood families and fulfill the sage of his past dream. If this was the first choice, then he dreaded what the other 2 will be, and what they will ask from him. What will be his sacrifice then? He had already sacrificed his lover, risked the anger of his family, and his banner man. Placed his faith and trust in a family that he have war against for centuries now. Whatever the case though, a choice was made, and he had to live with it for the rest of his life. Time skip. Tsunade had been waiting for her betrothed to emerge from his self-isolation inside the tower. She had tried to get in, but she was stopped by Shizuka Uchiha, and she couldn't get past him. He had more patience than she had rage. It has been an hour and he hasn't even twitched one bit. The same went for Itachi. He did not even say a word to her though. The Kingsguard, that is what they were called. A loyal and good man who was following him for years. People have pledged their services to him, despite his dark past. When he was known as a Kingslayer, everyone that hated him, everyone that was against him, these people pledged their loyalty to him and followed him no matter what. If she hadn't heard Naruto's story, she would have think that they were fools for following him. But now, after hearing what he said, and seeing how they made their own choice, it made her feel jealous. While she was loved and respected by people, it was only because she was Batsuma, only daughter, and later on, the only sister of her brothers. Despite her skills in fighting and healing, people saw her as a princess, someone that needed protection. They only will follow her in battle because she was Hoshirama's sister, and not because of who she was. But on the other hand, Naruto, he was her complete opposite. He was someone that was destined to be hated and forgotten, yet he did not give up. He strived through it all, and now he was rising once again. She would never say it out loud, but compared to him, she felt small, despite her princess status. The rumors Don't do your duty any justice, princess, said Shisui, with a small smile. She looked at him with a suspicious gaze. People who said those words were often like lustful dogs, but he looked so innocent, and there wasn't any lust in his eyes. Itachi, on the other hand, looked so disinterested in her appearance. He wasn't even paying her the time of the day. As she looked at this man, he was the morning star, Shisui, that's what they call him. He was Naruto's best friend. If she was going to develop any quarrel relationship between her betrothed, she would have to make this man her ally. But then there was a silent shadow. Despite not catching him once, she knew that he was observing her. He was observing her every move. Itachi Uchiha. He was watching like a hawk, but his eyes did not show any emotion at all, nor hate or anything. Those men were the most dangerous. She knew it. And there was other Kingsguard member that she had yet to meet. It was actually the matter of one of them, which brought her here in the first place. Well, they won't matter if my future husband continued to hate me, said Tsunade. Surprisingly, it was Itachi that spoke. He doesn't hate you. He hates your judgmental attitude. What? A vein popped in her forehead. Shisui sighed as he gave Itachi a stern glare. As Itachi simply looked away. As he looked back at Tsunade, she looked like he was about to explode. So this was a temper that he heard about. What he means to say is there are many things that you don't know about Naruto, our allies, and our clan alike. Our factions have been at war for a very long time, so it's natural for us to have our grudges. But Naruto is willing to look past all of them so that we can live peacefully. It's a two-way street, said Shisui. What do you two think of this peace treaty? I want your opinion, said Tsunade. Her brother was placing a lot of trust in one Uchiha. He was even going as far as to rebel against the daimyo. Naruto did look trustable, but what would that matter if other Uchihas hated that trust? It is not our place. We trust Naruto. That should be enough, Itachi said. As that aggravates Tsunade even more and hearing his disinterested tone. Not all Uchihas want to contend this never-ending war. Some of us will prefer peace if it can be achieved. It's just, we're extremely loyal to our family. If they chose war, then we cannot let them fight alone and die. It is true that Uchihas have plenty of hate in their heart for their enemies. But our clan is one of the most loyal in the world. Stubborn, prideful, but loyal, said Shisui. And you think Naruto can achieve this peace to convince Madara and the others to back down? Asked Tsunade skeptically. From what she heard about Madara, the possibilities seem bleak. Madara loved Naruto more than what you or anyone else can imagine. I have faith that Naruto can bring our side to the negotiation table. What happened after that is up to the actions of both sides. You're quite honest for Uchiha, said Tsunade. I'll take that as a compliment. He's here, said Itachi. As Naruto stepped out of the tower, he was surprised to see her. Tsunade noticed his cheeks and his eyes. And that was a confirmation that she wanted to find out about the other Kingsguard member. He told the other two to stay back, much to Itachi protests. As he offered his arm as he came towards her, wasn't he being a bit eager? It will be better for people to see unity amongst us before tomorrow, he said. She then noticed the nicely hidden Senju guards hidden, watching him like trained hawks. So her brothers were worried about her despite the new peace. Enough to send high-scale ninjas to watch over her. It made her feel happy and bitter at the same time. To think that Naruto saw right through them was another point that she noted about his observation power. They made an awkward pair as they walk, rigid with every step. But despite the awkwardness and the silence, she got time to look at him closely. His skin was fair like the moonlight. His shoulders were broad and strong. Earning an approving nod from her, she felt the tension in the arm that was connected with hers, but she also felt the strength behind it as well. She always saw Uchihas with black spiky hair, some of them strange in shades and sizes. But his, it was slicked back and smooth, and brown, and it looked like it was soft as silk. And it was because she saw when the wind ruffled them as they flew in all directions. It was soft. As she kept on glancing at him. Quite a stalker, are you? He said. She flushed as she noticed that he noticed her. Before she could say anything, she saw the look in his eyes, and that fake smile in his face. He was trying to keep up strength. Well, at least you're not ugly, she said, as she was unable to stop herself. He tried to resist, but an amused smile came on his face. She was shocked. His smile was so different than anything she has ever seen before. When he truly smiled, he looked happy, kindness, relief. Everything just washed over him at once. And he also had dimples. She had to look away before she blushed and him teased her again. That got to be the most weirdest and endearing comment I've ever gotten. He said to her, well then, you better take it, she said. They both walked in until they reached a beautiful fountain. A lion, water coming out of his mouth. As Naruto saw Shisui and Itachi a distance away, so was the Senju guards, ready, just in case. Knowing Itachi and Shisui, the Senjus would be dead. Before they even unleashed their blades, Snelly was looking at a strange fountain. He got a chance to look at her, fully. Despite the rough start, he had never once said that she was not beautiful, even much so than the other woman that he had been with, much to his shame of seeing the truth. She had a strange diamond seal on her forehead as well. He didn't know what purpose it served, but it actually enhanced her beauty. Her golden blonde hair was tied into a ponytail, and her skin was fair. But her eyes, they fascinated him. Those hazel orbs had such life in them. As he could see that she wasn't exposed to certain things that he was, that was good. "What is it?" she said. "I just realized how different we are, and it's a good thing because the world cannot handle two of us," he said, in a joking tone. Much to his surprise, she burst out laughing. A laughter that would have made most noble Uchiha women red in embarrassment, but she did not care. As she finally stopped laughing, the tension between them was so tensing more. As they sat down, he maintained a safe distance so that he was not being overwhelming. Nere had hammered these manners in his thick brain of the past decades, and he knew what to do perfectly. As she said something that he did not expect, "Is there any other woman in your life?" He looked at her seriously. Despite their shaky pace, he was yet to trust her fully. "I'm not judging you," she said, as he looked into her eyes. "I had," he said. "Had?" she asked. "I ended it, and it is not for any reason that you might think." Her mind instantly went towards men in this decade abandoning the woman, even if they might care for them, for a pretty one to come along, and she was no small catch. If that was the case, she calmed herself though as she remembered what Shisui said, as she decided to hear him out. "Well, our political marriage is not one of love between us yet, but that does not change the fact I will not dishonor you. As my future wife, I carry on a illegitimate relationship behind your back. I respect you enough not to do that, and I love." He froze. As he realized himself, he loved her enough not to do that. As he realized now that he had actually loved Mikoto, Sneddy saw right through him despite that last sentence he kept to himself. Sneddy took his hand to his surprise. "I'm glad that you were honest with me," she said. As he looked towards her eyes, she respected him. A different kind of respect. Would have been there if he had lied to her. Would it still be there if he told her he had 2 children on the way? She might be accepting of his past affair, but he highly doubt that she would accept his children from another woman. She did not seem like that kind of woman to him. More than that, he could not trust her with his secret yet. Not with the life of his children. So he would not tell her. "I cannot say if I can love you or not, princess, but I will give you the respect and consideration that you deserve as my lawful wife, if you give me the same in return." "Snazzy," she said, the smile on her face. "If you want us to treat each other like equals, I want you to call me by my name, as I would do the same for you, Naruto," she said. It felt strange to hear her calling his name because every other time she mocked him by saying Kingslayer. "Very well, Snazzy," he said, with a smile on his face. "It feels strange, us sitting like this. Perhaps we're the first Uchihas and Senju to sit together without making threats or trying to slit each other's throats." He fought back the urge to tell her that his grandfather had offered the same thing to her grandfather, but they were betrayed. As he wondered if he was making the mistake, he could only imagine the hell that Madara and Tajima were going to give him for making this peace happen. It would be a miracle if they didn't tear him apart at first sight. His best chance was to get his aunt to get him a meeting with those 2 men. Nere was the most rational person, and even if she hated the Senjus, she would do anything to make sure there was peace in their family. So he sat there thinking about his meeting with his family, while going through normal conversation with Tsunade, and she decided to call him by his name as he did the same for her. They both parted on that, feeling more easy with each other, as Shisui approached. As well as Itachi, or the man ready Naruto asked. "They are," said Shisui, "but they are not happy, fighting beside enemies they have been fighting for thousands of years," said Itachi. "Well, if we don't figure out how to fight together, our descendants will be calling us fools for deciding to fall to slavery," said Naruto. "You think you can rally 2 bitter sides to fight for you," said Shisui, with a smirk. As Naruto smiled, "Not for me," he said. He had the idea. Time skip as Naruto stood in front of the mixed bunch of ninjas standing in the battlefield in front of him. Usually, these men and women be fight to kill each other, but now they were fighting side by side. Still, the distrust was there as they glanced at each other suspiciously. Snaggy and Inma was there to keep command over the 2,500 Senjus. 8 of them was the King's Guard, and Naruto, and the 500 Uchiha faction members that was made up of Shimura, Namikaze, and few Uchiha allies. There was 9,000 guards across the city, 9,000 strong. Many of them were former ninjas who took up services with the daimyo, rather than serving any of the allied clans. The problem that Naruto faced was how they were distributed. They were spread all over the city, and he had a feeling that traps were everywhere already. And things would be worse if his mixed forces decide to turn against each other in the battlefield. A single tap or a mistake could cause war between his men because the tension was already high. And on the battlefield they would protect their own, not each other. And that would be a disaster. Hoshirama, taking 500 of his best soldiers, promised to capture him, the royal capital. As Naruto offered some of his men, but Hoshirama refused. He did not trust the Uchihas not to slaughter the royal family when they were captured. In return though, he gave Naruto command with Inuma and Tsunade over his own people. But how was he supposed to lead them when he couldn't even trust a majority of them not to stab him right in the back? Well, this is a risk that you took, Kurama whispered in a sarcastic tone. As Naruto nodded in acknowledgement, he couldn't use the fox because the city would be reduced to ashes, and he had to lead his army and make sure that they did not attack the civilians. He could not start something in the death of poor civilians that didn't do anything. They had already taken on the sentry posts, and Hoshirama was making his way. There hasn't been any noise yet. Well, for now. As he stepped forward, I'll be leading his attack. His supporters gave him a proudful nod. The Senjus, on the other hand, looked like they were going to maul him with their angry eyes. Form up, said Naruto. His supporters fall in line, but the others. Tsunade gave them a harsh glare as they quickly fall in line. He had to make sure that all of them were in together with this. As he released his chakra, making all of them turn towards him. They say that I'm a Kinslayer, the worst of the worst. But if you don't have the balls to fight against your common enemy, that makes all of you a coward, he said. All of their ego was ignited at that. Their distrustful looks were replaced by anger, and they wanted to pummel him for his insult. The enemy outnumber us. Shouldn't we find another situation with the daimyo? One of the Senjus asked bitterly. If we fight together, then I'll show you how we can win, said Naruto in a passionate tone. Many of them might hate his guts, but they knew that he was smart. He thought to his feet, and he could do things that seemed to be impossible. Don't fight for me. Don't fight for Hoshirama or Madara. Don't fight for riches or glory, because we will get none here. It is your freedom and independence the daimyo want to take. It is your settlement that you want to rule. Your family she wishes to command. Your women, your children that he wished to lord over. If you bow to him now, your descendants shall be his slave for eternity. Are you going to be cowards and allow a civilians to do that to you? Naruto yelled, as the fire was ignited in Senju's eyes. As Naruto pulled down and raised to the heavens, as he pointed his weapon at the vast capital ahead of them. There are 9,000 men in the city, said Naruto, as his Sharingan sprang to life. Let's go kill them. For the first time in history, Senjus and Uchihas gave a single roar to the heavens. As Naruto jumped up to the wall as thousands followed after him, alarm bells then went off as the first wave of army started to rush out. This is gonna be bloody, said Kagami with a grimace. Hundreds will die, brother, said Shisui. Thousands, Kurama whispered, as Naruto looked toward the side where Tsunade was, and she gave him a nod. Come with me and let's take the city, said Naruto. But guys, be subscribe right here. If you want the next person, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notifications they posted. And also stay tuned for the brand new episode coming over in Anime King 3 and Anime King 2. If you're new, yes, you heard that correctly. I do have 3 channels, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post 40 fun every single day for you guys to enjoy. So yeah, for now, see you guys soon. Peace.